Thank you very much. Nice to give you an update on the Wings for Aid project. I thank Anna for the previous presentation. We decided as Wings for Aid to push through complexity a bit by quote unquote just building an aircraft and getting it done and see what goes wrong. Well, not many things, but sometimes we come up to some things that we then try to solve. So we try to take a role in this group to act and do and evaluate in the process, meanwhile being connected to the discussions that we just listened to. And I very much appreciate this role and my team. I have to thank again Hans for his groundbreaking work in this area. The Wings for Aid project would not be a success without his contribution, a big contribution to the industry. Just to recap, Wings for Aid is a mission-first organization. We want to build a mission-specific aircraft just to help humanitarian organizations to bridge the last mile. We are not so, it doesn't really motivate us to think of a solution for Amazon.com that you have your book in 2 hours instead of 24 hours, or for €2 instead of €4. I know these problems also need to be solved, but we want to provide technology to humanitarian organizations first. Our aircraft need to work in disaster-prone infrastructure situations where there is compromised access, isolated communities, and complex transport lines, which is a last mile issue normally. So we have to cover 50 to 250 kilometers with our aircraft to bridge the last mile for humanitarian organizations. I didn't know, I was not in humanitarian business before, but it is a business. There is 100 million people in need every year. The number is increasing, and 20 million approximately is an estimation of the World Food Programme is out of reach just because of difficult logistics. We do have the stuff for it, but we don't get it to the people. And here, I think unmanned aircraft can play a very good role, giving also a societal benefit to cargo drones, which could then also lead to acceptance and more flight hours, of which the industry as a whole can, of course, benefit. We are endorsed by the International Committee of the Red Cross and the OECD. This is how a typical Photoshop setup would look like. We would transport aircraft to remote operating bases, and from remote operating bases that would consist of containerized systems and shelters and what have you, either on an existing airport or just in a field, any place that we can have a decent access to by means of aircraft or trucks or whatever. And from there we would operate our drones. And well, Oko mentioned some logistical benefits already. Obviously, you have crew logistics. We would need to bring a crew to the forward operating base. So that logistics we keep. For us, it is more interesting that we can do precision airdrops without a parachute. So that is where cargo drones help us. Now you can do airdrops from, for instance, Hercules aircraft, maybe even small Cessna aircraft, but never precise airdrops, which is of benefit for logistics where you just want to deliver 100 kg to the one village and 200 kg to the next. Obviously, it makes things more predictable and safer. Oko mentioned that you can make mission-specific aircraft, so we can downsize, either upsize aircraft, and thus have a better programming of logistics. So it makes it all more predictable and safer. And as it turns out, and we are helped out here by University of Twente, who are doing a lot of good research for us and for the industry, it is a more competitive cost when compared to traditional means in humanitarian transport like helicopters. And even when you consider the last transport from the drop zone to the villages, it is even more attractive than large-scale airdrops. In modern times, it's still coalition and network-based. We have this expanding network, but rather stable, where we work together with universities, small and medium enterprises and some industrial partners. Maybe not all of you know, but our partner Van Berlo, industrial design agency in Eindhoven and The Hague, has been acquired by the American firm Accenture, with a significant presence in Netherlands anyway, but they have acquired Van Berlo. So we have 500,000 extra colleagues whom we still need to meet, but it is good to have such a network on board. Highlights of the journey. I've done this in previous presentations, but we are well connected to both the United States, to the industry, and members of parliament. We did our work, so concept design. We were very happy with the Dutch of the Amsterdam Drone Week. And in last year, in January 20, we had a concept handover and really started to work on the drone. And on the right picture, you see us standing with the prototype of the drone, which is also production number one. We try to do everything at once, so the prototype also flies and will be made operational. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. So that is where we are now. A little bit of an update on where we are, pushing through this complexity. As I said, we are in phase number 2 of our project. So 1 was a proof of concept, 2 is testing of the prototype. We are validating it. We intend to do flight testing. This is going very slowly. I'm new in this industry. It takes a lot of time. My goodness, far more time than we expected. But anyway, you see the drone here in the upper right-hand corner. So far was only ground testing, and we intend to make it fly before the summer. We don't know exactly. There is significant ground testing to be done in terms of course, the communication links, the braking systems, and also the training of the pilots. It's a considerable drone. It has a 10-meter wingspan. It has a 65 horsepower Rotax engine and has a total takeoff weight of 650 kg. So it is considerable. And so we drive it around to prepare for the first flight. Where we do it, I will get to later. We are working on business validation, of course, which is then humanitarian to begin with. So that is all United Nations and Red Cross work. The network is in order. And I can announce that we have the letters of interest in place from the award-winning, the Nobel Prize-winning World Food Programme. So we're very honored that as a Dutch startup, we are invited to work actually for the United Nations to help people in need, which is exactly our mission. And we can start when we are ready. And we are almost ready. So that means that we can do pilot testing with the sector as planned, and we will do so with the World Food Programme and also with the International Red Cross Organization, both with IFRC and with ICRC. So both the Federation and also the committee in Geneva. This is the manned test aircraft that we still use, so we keeping the combination. Thank you, Ministry of Defense and Air Force, for helping us here and building a solid roadmap, because we go fast, but we do take small steps and incremental steps. So we keep our optionally piloted vehicle alive. You see our cargo boxes, our cargo delivery boxes next to under the wings. And we keep it alive. In Twente at Space 350 hosted, we worked on the remote control for this aircraft. So it is intended to be part of the whole fleet. Here you see it standing in Germany, where we do testing at DLR, who have opened their new drone test site between Hanover and Berlin. A little bit of insight on how this goes. This is a typical operation from us, very practical. You see in the upper left corner, you see our boxes, the 20 kg delivery boxes. You see the loading of the manned aircraft, so these cargo bays. There's a little movie in between, but because of technical difficulties, I will not start it. Who knows? And then in the lower right-hand corner, you see the delivery of Jägermeister vaccines. So we dropped little pieces of Jägermeister, obviously frozen cold as they are supposed to do, otherwise it's undrinkable, this stuff. And this was very successful. So we dropped Jägermeister from 100 meters, ice cold on the floor, and we drank it as a team. And again, no problems at all. So we are very happy that the system really, really works. And obviously we did so to demonstrate that we can transport vaccines when necessary. And I can announce that the relationship with DLR is intensifying. They have started their Drones for Good program. We are part of it. And DLR also wants to provide more technology to the humanitarian sector, which is a shared ambition with Wings for Aid. And now I have to move to the next slide. Oh, still, there is now a movie. I don't know whether you can see that, whether that technically works, but you see box droppings from 100 meters, barely to see. Anyway, this is the Jägermeister dropping from 100 meters. We're practical people. We choose Switzerland as our home base, mainly because of the authority, the knowledgeable authority, FOCA. So we set up a tent and a hangar in Schaffhausen, just above Zurich, as our test base. So here you see us visiting with the land aircraft and a lot of Swiss volunteers helping us out. This is the testing of the drone with the remote control system at the factory Pipistrel in Slovenia. They have built the drone for us, and it is, as you can see, ready. We are driving it around with the control station. It is currently equipped to do demonstration sessions, so it has radio control over 5 kilometers. And currently we are testing the appropriate satellite communication system for the range extension, so to make it mission ready. Or mentioned it already, obviously the C2 link-off is utmost importance. All aircraft will be equipped with satellite communication, but we still have to decide upon the right system. Here back in the Netherlands, we thank our partners at the Ministry of Defense and Air Force and Army. Here we are guests at Delen, where we can use the runway for ground testing. As you can see, we are practical people. We have mounted the aircraft on a 9-meter trailer with a rig that we can turn the aircraft 30 degrees and also 180 if needed. So we could do a lot of wind envelope testing just using a truck. It saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of cost, and it is very interesting to do. You see the wind meter on top, so we have airspeed, we have everything. So what we try to do is have an innovation program at limited cost. And yeah, we see that due to the cooperations we have, it really, really works out well. And here you see our test pilot, Arie Slachter, many of you know him, I think, and our lead engineer, Alexis from the back, with all camera positions and GoPros. But this is just a Mercedes truck that you're looking at and a 9-meter trailer. That's it. But we succeeded to do all the testing of the initial wind envelope for the ground, which eliminates risks for the first flight tests. So thanks to our partners for making this possible. A little glimpse of the drone from the front here in Loosdrecht with the design team of Van Berlo Accenture. So we celebrated that from Photoshop to reality, basically for this aircraft in almost 1 year. So in 12 months, we went from Photoshop to this actual aircraft, thanks to our production partner, Pipistrel in Slovenia. Yeah, so we're very happy with the result. Just to update you so that the group knows, I already mentioned we have completed phase 1 and phase B. So principle and concept have been proven and ready. We are validating the prototype. The only thing missing is the first flight, which we hope to do before the summer. If we are unlucky after the summer, I don't know. We take it step by step. And then, of course, we go for phase number 3, the validation of the system. We want to work with more aircraft. We would like to acquire extra aircraft and scaling up to a reasonable level that we can transport 1 to 2 tons per day from an actual forward operating base with the Red Cross. And I can announce that this project will start. It is funded and it will start. Then, so we have this phase number 3. Actually, we have track number 1 funded, and we have 1 funding request pending for further innovation. So the demonstration track is now funded, where we work over the world to demonstrate the concept. And we intend to have an innovation track where we cooperate with Van Berlo, but also with NLR, of course, to look at detect and avoid systems. So I will certainly tune in for the next session, also listening to Hensoldt. As you can imagine, we want to make our aircraft smarter, eventually to have more aircraft per operator, and also to reduce the workload of the operator. So any detect and avoid developments we support, and we offer our platforms as a testbed, and sometimes we also invest. Here you see Ronald van Gent working with radar technology, and we intend to extend that track, but that is yet to be funded. The demonstration and validation track is intended to work in 2 parts of the world. We will do two parallel projects, basically, that will include regional training of pilots. We have been asked to train pilots locally, so it is a nice export product that we as Wings for Aid would be a European Dutch organization taking care of compliance, and within the ACMI table that Okko explained, we would take care of aircraft crew training, so not the crew, but the crew training, the maintenance and the insurance, and then local operators would work with our equipment under our license. Hence, we can grow while also the local connections, so more local people learn how to fly our aircraft, and also they can maintain the relationship with the local civil aviation authorities and the local ground crews, of course. Because we drop things, the ground crews are very important. We will invest in more systems, and of course we will invest in the contracting, because ultimately this is a business in which we need to win contracts, logistical contracts from our customers, being United Nations and UN. This is looking far ahead, but just to give you a glimpse, this is not for next year, but in the longer run, if we want to be efficient, we would need to be everywhere. Our slogan is reaching people anywhere. Well, you don't want to move around too much with the aircraft. Our logistical partner is Uranus, but of course we want to be the aircraft in the region. So probably we will work along the lines of existing logistical patterns that you see in humanitarian world. And normally you see that on the right, you have some 4, 5, 6 operating bases for humanitarian logistics, be it Panama, and for instance Nairobi for East Africa. You have some spots, probably we will be there as well with agencies and working from there, but that is more a management issue for later. This might be of interest. We will not only acquire more aircraft but also improve them. This is obviously on every drone operator's wish list. At present the drone is not automated, so the autopilot is not on yet. We fly it ourselves because we still need the flight behavior data. Once we have them, we will put them into the autopilot and it can follow waypoints, because we will program the autopilot, install SATCOM, and then we can activate the automated flight. I can say it now in 30 seconds, but that will take some effort. Then the next one is of course detect and avoid, which is, I know, a big subject. But as I said, anything that helps us to make the aircraft more intelligent and reduce the workload of the operator is appreciated. And we also plan to look at other industries and transfer technology from that industry to aviation, for instance, from car. We will also upgrade our OPV. We started this in Twente. We continue that now in Germany. And we will keep it. I never expected it. I was always against a manned aircraft in my program, but I was convinced, and we keep it. We will make use of the improvisation talent of the pilot on board at the start of our missions. We see that it brings a lot of rest in the team. If we first fly the whole route that the drone is intended to fly, make sure that all systems works. So we intend to use the OPV actively, especially at the start of missions. by setting up our dropping zones and so forth and so on. So it's interesting to just to keep it, and we will invest in it to turn it basically into a multi-role platform that is in that way on system. So it is part of our ground control station that is now built so that more than one aircraft can connect to it, including the OPV. So our test pilot who was just walking in can have a cheese sandwich on board and work on other things if needed. So we are realizing our business targets. Slowly, we invest in scalability. The cost is acceptable. The range is acceptable. It is not yet certified. Of course, we work in a specific category for drones, but ultimately that is of course the goal. We have realized now 160 kg payload, which is close to the 200 we want. It is intended to be safe. The first flights will demonstrate that. So we are well on track to do it. Lastly, I will show you this, and then I'm at the end of my presentation. And this is, sorry for the noise, this is in Schaffhausen, where we tested the drone in the snow, just a taxi track that we did. I put the pilots on 2.5 meters. Ari is standing here and complaining that the pilots are too close, that you do not hear. But everything works well, and the aircraft is well under control, also just on a grass runway in the snow. So we are now, thanks to the snow, having snowed grass runways, tarmac runways, whatever. So we take it through Europe to see how it behaves. As you see, a very practical approach. So this is how it is transported in terms of logistics. This is a more a student project than anything else comparable, I think. We drive it around, and we have a command and control center, which is the van. We have the trailer. Obviously, this is all anticipating for future transport systems, because we will need to transport large numbers of such things across the world. So we are trying to develop a feeling for it. Corona doesn't hold us back. We have practiced all procedures. We have the protocols in place to continue the work. So it didn't really slow us down, fortunately. Last slide to announce, we are very happy with the backing of Dutch Parliament. There is a fresh amendment last year, the amendment Bouali, to reach refugees better, and a significant amount of that amendment of the law will be invested in the Wings for Aid program. Hence, that is why we can accept the invitation of the UN, co-funded by the Dutch government. So we are very happy with this achievement, and funding is now in place, backed by, well, the vast majority of Parliament. So I'm very happy that we can continue the journey, and I very much look forward to keep you all on board and have you as part of it.
Yeah.
Whoa, no, sorry, Sigrid, not now. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. So this is it. This I wanted to share with you as an update, a quick overview. Any questions? I'm more than happy to answer. Thank you very much.